Hey everybody, welcome back to HitPoint, a JRPG news show, an anime news show, a niche shoot news show, a show where Baku and I will talk about everything and anything that catches our interest. We broadcast live every single darn Sunday, except for the ones when we don't. At
no exception. No
7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be previewing trailers, talking about rumors, discussing various topics of discussion. We'll be, let's see, what else? We'll be responding to super chats at the end of the episode.
Yes.
Baku.
Yes.
How are you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Well, except that school's starting soon, so I'm a little nervous about that. But other than that, great.
School hype.
More school. Yeah, I really enjoyed the summer. I got a lot of stuff done. I got to really spend time doing some stuff that I've always wanted to do for myself, I guess, that school and other things had, prevented me from doing. But so far so good.
So do you
how
know?
About you, man?
Well, I was gonna say, do you know what kind of clubs you're gonna join this semester? Yeah, school clubs.
Well,
it's a thing, right?
Well, I'm the president of the Waifu Appreciation Club in my university. So, I can't just walk away from that. So that's pretty much what I'll be doing.
Understandable. Cool. Well,
Yes.
best of luck, ganbate. So, yeah, you asked about my week.
Yes.
It's been a bit of a crazy week so far. Well, I mean, it's over now. Well, it's actually just beginning, but the last week was a lot. There was videos that I put out. Well, mostly just one video that I worked on all week. Some stuff that I was working on that just kind of ended up falling through. There was a review that I was working on and opted out at the last minute because it just it's a game that didn't click with me, and I was like, I don't like being like a downer. I feel like it's rough. I would rather just not review a game than like give it a bad review, unless it's like made by a large company. But if it's like an indie studio that didn't jive with me, it's like I don't want to kick an indie studio. I can't do it. So anyways, I was going to do one, decided against it after I just couldn't really find anything nice to say.
Okay, and I'm not going to ask you what that is either.
No. But then otherwise it was a fun week, and it culminated with a little birthday celebration with my family and some friends. I went and this morning rewatched the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie because I mean, that's just how I roll. It's my birthday, and there's a TMNT in theaters right now. And it was actually a packed theater this time. We went for a matinee. It was like a $4 matinee day for, something special for the local theater, and just brought in a lot of people from varying age groups. And it's good to watch these kinds of movies in large crowds where you can actually hear other people kind of like laughing at the same jokes or laughing at jokes that you maybe didn't catch the first time, or
you feel like you're a part of the collective, right? The vibe is important.
Yes, it is. I am among other cult members. It's a comforting thought.
Well, happy belated birthday, sir.
Thank you.
Hope you really enjoyed it.
I've joined the realm of old farts like you.
I mean, we've been in the rounding up to 40s club for a little while now, so it's going to be like that for a little bit while still. So
yeah. Well,
okay.
Can't wait to be rounding down to 40s.
Yeah, cannot wait to be rounding down.
Well, hey, that about covers it for just some of the intro stuff, but we have some questions of the week. Hang on.
Questions of the week.
Yeah, that one kind of hung there for a little bit. We have some questions of the week that got responded to last week. I kind of last minute asked a question asking about difficulty modes. Hard mode, when is it worth it? And easy mode, when is it okay? That was a very broad question, very open-ended. I got a ton of responses honestly tons of responses to this, but but I think that Freddie, who also does a lot of our timestamps for us, thank you, Freddie.
Thank you, Freddie.
Also left a really all-encompassing comment that I felt was pretty much a summary in a lot of ways to what a lot of other people were expressing, which is that easy mode is always okay. Why should it not be okay? You still play the same game the way that you enjoy it the most. The game goes for, or the same goes for hard mode. If you get more fun out of it, then you can use that. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, so it should be obvious that the difficulty of the game is different for everybody. So for someone, a hardcore game can be pretty easy, and vice versa. You know, and he actually left a really long, a really long comment, kind of going over more of that. But this one from some random guy also left a really awesome answer. Actually, he also left a really long one, but I just wanted to take the first sentence because I felt like it was a perfect summary. And they said the answer is both. You know, basically, when you've stopped having fun, that's when you need to, you know, basically when you've stopped having fun, it's okay to switch to hard mode, or it's okay to switch to easy mode, you know?
Yeah. I would agree.
I'm just really glad that that's the general vibe from those comments, but go for it. Go. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Baku.
Oh no, I was just agreeing to the sentiment. Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
it's nice to have such I wouldn't call it wholesome. I mean, I guess it's a little wholesome. Is it wholesome? Does that qualify?
I don't know if it's wholesome.
Kind of non-judgmental. I think.
Very accepting of you know, people with different preferences, and we're okay with that. Yeah,
different preferences and different. I mean, there's also different like accessibility levels.
Yeah.
You know, I think that that's one of the great powers of like, you know, turn-based RPGs is that they are inherently a little bit more accessible, I think, to people who have impairments with their dexterity. So like action RPGs, it's really not as easy to dive into those games when it requires really fast reflexes and reaction times and things.
That's right.
You know, precise button movements. So I think that turn-based RPGs are really great in that regard. And yeah, I think that just giving them additional difficulty options kind of enhances that somewhat too.
Like kind of a side note, but for turn-based RPGs, since we're kind of talking a little bit about like accessibility and whatnot, I will say that as a side benefit for a streamer, anyways, so people who don't stream won't get this, but turn-based lets me rechat.
Oh, that
action games do not. It's extremely hard to rechat playing an action game. But reading chat with turn-based games is a lot easier.
It's easier, but let me tell you, when boss mode happens, there's a lot of times where chat just takes a back seat.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it still happens
when you have to lean forward. When you have to lean forward, it's like just moving the chat out of my periphery. Let's do this.
Like like if I'm playing a Dark Souls game, I'm like constantly looking around my surroundings, trying not to die. Like I don't have time to look at chat and respond and try not to die in that game. So you know, like it's like that. But accessibility, I think it's probably the biggest item. It's that and like gatekeeping, right? So I think it's very nice that our audience don't gatekeep, right? And they don't act like, oh, you're not playing on hard mode, you're not playing this game right. Just people ought to be able to just play whatever the heck, you know, mode they want. They pay for the game, like just let them do their thing, especially people who are like maybe have some disability, like physical disability. They simply cannot play the game even in normal mode. But should we, you know, refuse their participation, right, in this hobby and experience these, like, you know, insane cool worlds that we get to experience? No, like we should allow them to experience it all the same, right, as much as we can. So accessibility, like controllers or like easy modes, like basically hardware and software solutions are to this kind of hindrance from experiencing the game fully. So I'm all for it.
Now, I did want to ask you another question though.
Sure.
How do you feel about reviewers playing games on different difficulty levels? I think that a lot of us kind of take for granted that a reviewer will play on normal. There have been occasions where I've played on hard mode, but what would you think about somebody who reviews games in this sense of like myself, for instance, just randomly out of nowhere, like playing a game on easy mode? Would you still take their word, at face value for like if they say that the how the gameplay is? Does that then, would that change your perception?
A little bit, only
Mm-hmm.
because when I think of normal mode, I think of that as the developer saying this is the benchmark,
Yeah.
right? So as you're creating reviews, I mean, look, as long as you're admitting, hey, I'm doing this on easy mode, I think it's fine. But if you're passing it off as this is normal mode and then giving like the wrong impression, I think that I might not want that personally.
Yeah, flipping a game into easy
Yeah.
mode and then complaining about it being too easy would probably
Yeah,
be
or
a really
something like
bad look.
that.
That'd be a bad look, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, if you play the normal mode and it ends up being too easy, a really dedicated reviewer would be like, and then I tried a hard mode and it's just right for me, but your mileage may vary. Like, I think that I would respect that a lot. It makes me feel like you really care about, how
Yeah.
the audience will react, and you're really testing it out for them in that review. So that's how I feel about it.
Ah, man. I will say that there's one thing that grinds my gears, and it's games that don't allow you to flip between difficulty modes like at any point. I get
Yeah.
it that in some cases, like it would gatekeep you from getting certain achievements,
Mhm.
but like if you've made it to like the halfway point of the game and the difficulty just isn't there anymore, it would be really
Mhm.
nice to be able to crank up the difficulty.
Oh, that happened to me with Near Automata.
You did it?
Like,
Oh.
so if you turn on hard mode in the
Hmm.
very beginning section, that the beginning section basically there's no save point. It's this entire like 5-10 minute long like corridor area, no save point. And basically the way that the setup is in hard mode is basically a one-hit kill.
Oh.
So you've got to be really good with
Mhm.
hard mode in that first section. Otherwise, you're not going to survive, right? So
Yeah.
there's that. But then towards the middle of the game or so, you grind so much and you have so many skills and whatnot, and you've maybe even got used to the game. That hard mode becomes easy. Like I was playing normal mode, I'm like, oh my god, I'm destroying everything in like 2 hits. Like I want to crank up the difficulty.
Yeah.
And I went hard mode, and it was actually still kind of easy. So I don't know at that point if it's my fault for overgrinding, or maybe I haven't overgrind the game, like just doesn't scale well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that definitely has happened before, where in the mid of the game I had to turn on hard mode because it was just getting too easy.
So one of the things that I really kind of wanted to get to the crux of with that question, as it relates to hard mode anyway, is
Mhm.
like when is hard mode like really worth it? I know that sometimes and a lot of times people will play hard mode just for the trophy, right?
Mm.
But I'm wondering like when, I mean, and I guess that at some point the additional difficulty is worth it in and of itself, right? For a lot of people
Mhm.
who just want to play at a skill level that they already are comfortable with, right? But I'm like, is there any incentive that a developer can offer uh, outside of that to
Mhm.
make hard mode feel like something that they want to strive for? And
I
I
don't
and I
know if
don't
they need to
yeah.
though.
Yeah, it's probably not the role of the developer to incentivize the hard mode.
Mhm. Like I feel
So,
like it's just there if you want to do it. But
yeah.
the problem with incentivizing it, I guess, is that again, people who may not be able to even control it regularly, we feel like they're completely missing out on even the opportunity for that, right? So it's a
Yeah.
little bit, it should be a reward in and of itself. Like if you accomplish a challenge and then you feel like you've accomplished something, like that should
Hmm.
be the reward.
Like it's almost
Um,
like a sound setting in that sense, where it's
mhm.
really you're adjusting your preferences, not really adjusting uh not really adjusting the mode of the game in a
Yeah.
way. It's more like you're changing the brightness, the contrast, the
Yeah.
difficulty, the just getting it to fit you.
It's just
Which
another setting.
raises the question, like, why,
Mhm.
if that's the case, like, why do we offer uh rewards, or why are there trophies for that sort of thing?
That's a good question. I guess
I don't
some
know.
games are built that way where like, hey, listen, this game is just gonna be a challenge game.
Hmm.
Like Dark Souls, like yeah,
Yeah,
difficulty is like part of the experience, and that's just what we want to build in. Or like
that's
Ninja
true.
Gaiden or something. But that's a fairly small subset of games compared to all the games that we have.
Hmm.
So yeah, I totally get it if like difficulty is just like the what this game is known for.
Yeah.
Um,
The Trails series did something pretty interesting to sort of
mhm,
incentivize trying the harder routes.
mhm,
You've probably bumped into that a few times, where you bump into like boss fights that are optional. Like
mhm,
you can lose to them and you're
mhm.
fine, or you can get an optional scene if you
Mm,
strike through and beat the boss, or if you beat them within X number of turns. And I guess that's another method of like incentivizing like mastery of the system.
mhm.
It's not so much of a difficulty setting, though the games do also offer those. So I think that it's not, I guess that's not really, I guess, yeah, that's two different things, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess like I'm a little more forgiving when it comes to like a turn-based RPG versus like action. Like action,
Mm,
some people really just cannot move that way.
yeah.
But turn-based, it's more about just taking your time and think it through and grinding it out. So as long as you have the will to do it, you probably can achieve it easier than like an action game hard mode, where like basically it's one hit death and you have to do like all the perfect dodges and parries. Like it's a lot harder for someone who cannot move the body a certain way, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas like you said, like turn-based, like it's menu-based, the game completely stops. There's no physical constraint so much as can you just strategize through and get it out. Um, so I feel like I'm a little bit more forgiving on that area. There are more people who would be able to accomplish that
Yeah.
than action. So
All right. Well, hey, we have a new question of the week that I'd like to pose to everybody. Um, and it has a little bit of a tie-in with some of the recent videos that I've released this
mhm.
week and last week, where I talked about my personal top 10 Super Nintendo turn-based RPGs that I'm hyped to play or replay, as well as the top 10 Super Nintendo action RPGs that I'm hyped
Mhm.
to play or replay. And
Ooh.
that question that I have for you guys is, given those, um, from for the Super Nintendo across any of the genres, honestly, what are your top three titles from that era
Mhm.
for the Super Nintendo?
Too
Because
easy.
it's tough. I mean, some of it's easy, but some of
Mhm.
it's really tough. There's a lot of really good games on the Super Nintendo,
It
and
is,
and
yeah.
diving back into these games again
Mhm.
and like reevaluating, not just like how epic was it, how pretty was it, but like what would I want to replay right now? Like
Mhm.
going back, my list really surprised me when it came to
Mm.
action RPGs. Like when I
Mhm.
actually was like, I would actually replay Brain Lord.
Mm.
That game, I've had a long-standing love-hate relationship with that game for
Mhm.
decades at this point. But I'm like, it do be looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I feel like it's two questions, right? Like it's what would you replay at all versus
Yeah.
what's the top three? right?
Okay, yeah, let's add that.
Yeah.
What's your top 3, but what's your number 1 most like I want to
Likely
replay
to
it?
replay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Top 3 is easy.
Okay.
Just because I talked about it very recently.
Oh, really?
In my stream, we talked about it really recently. So I was like, oh, yeah, easy. Someone asked me, like, what's your top 5 Super Nintendo? I'm like, done. So basically, I just need to cut out 2 from that very short list and give you the top 3. As for like what to replay, that's a little tougher because there are remastered versions that are just superior, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I probably do that. So
Yeah.
what's something that I would genuinely want to replay on maybe original hardware on
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
That's a tougher question. Yeah.
Yep. And we're gonna respond to that one next week.
Yes.
But first, we'll see what you
stay
guys have to
tuned.
say. But before we go too much further into the world of news and things, we actually did get a voicemail this week, and let's go ahead and play that.
Oh my God, yes.
Hey, Derek and Baku, first time caller, long time watcher, and I basically had a question about JRPGs and character interaction systems. Character interactions, I think, are probably one of the most compelling parts in a lot of RPGs and JRPGs especially. And I guess a couple examples are the Fire Emblem support conversations where you see different combinations of characters interact with each other, the Tales of games having the different skits where characters react to the events that are going on at the time, Arts and Elko's dive system that lets you as the player, see into the psyche of the main girls, and the Evinical Heart system, which are kind of like little mini collectibles on the world map where you can kind of see the main character flirt with each of his wives, and it's really cute and adorable. My question is, what do you think out of all the JRPGs you played are the most interesting character interaction systems that could be little mini side stories or provide tangible benefits? What do you think are the most interesting, and what would you really like to see in any future JRPGs that you play? Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
All right.
That's such a great question, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a great question. So I'm guessing what they're really asking about are like playable character interactions and not so much like NPCs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So well, NPC is a whole different thing too.
It can be. It can be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just listening to all the example that he's provided. It sounds like Tales, you know, like they're all player based, like playable character interactions. But I guess we can respond to both, right? So
yeah. I mean, there are 2 that like immediately come to mind, and I think a lot of people already have at least one of them come to mind right now.
Are you saying Trails? You're gonna say Trails?
I mean, that's one of them. It's definitely one of them.
Okay.
And you know what the other one is?
No. What is the other one?
Should take a look at the thumbnail today.
Oh my God.
Persona. I mean,
Persona.
I mean, jeez. Persona 3 revolutionized how we interact with characters and would go on to, I think, inspire Cold Steel as far as character interactions go. Sorry. Mouth decided to go rogue there for a moment. But yeah, those are the 2 like real big ones that I think really emphasize character interactions and things like that. There's, aside from Tales of Fantasia and well the rest of the Tales series, one of the other games that came to mind was Arc-Rise Fantasia, which I've only played Tales of Fantasia and as far as like the Tales of series go, which I know is a little weird that I haven't played anything since then, but I did play Arc-Rise Fantasia, which I think borrowed a lot of inspiration from that system, and so I've gotten some exposure to that style of character interactions. I think that there's some pros and cons to a lot of them. Gosh, and even I was trying to think, because I had all the time in the world before today's podcast to actually start thinking about this. Meanwhile, Baku was making a mad dash to write down all of the news that we have yet to even start to touch on, and it's gonna be a long show.
It's a long show.
But the earliest one that I could sort of think of that you could probably call, and there are probably others, but that you could probably call a character interaction system, is probably Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
Chrono Trigger with its, I mean, there's not like much where they talk to each other. There's no like chatter on the world map or anything like that. There's no scenes that necessarily take place except for the optional side quests at the end of the game, where certain characters can interact with each other a bit more, and you get more side story for those characters. But what really first brought that game to mind was the dual and triple tech system, where
Oh, okay.
characters will not actually just do dual and triple techs with each other unless they've like been in combat with one another a lot, which
Okay.
kind of strikes me as a very, very primitive kind of affinity system for between characters.
Yeah.
So
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
uh-huh. So that was the first thing that kind of came to mind. But so I think that there's pros and cons to a lot of these different systems. But yeah, I like them. I like them a lot. The more fleshed out ones, the ones that that I really keep coming back to mentally is Persona 3 and 4. Persona 3 just basically dedicated half of the game to its probably more than half of the game.
More than half of the game is
More than
just-
half the game
Yeah.
is dedicated to the affinity system, to the interaction system. And so I guess the other big question is like, what would I like to see
for future games? Yeah.
and that's a tough one, because it's like you don't know what you don't know, right? It's like it's
I mean, there's stuff like Loop 8 too. Like, did you
Yes.
think that's like kind of cool? Like what they did? I mean, granted, it's not a great like RPG, but it's just in terms of like character interaction.
I would say so Loop 8 it did some really interesting things. The character progression system is neat. It's really heavily emphasized, but the problem with it is that players are forced to relive a lot of those experiences over and over due to the looping system. But you would think that the developers would have had some sort of like skip. This is a
There's
scene.
no skip.
There's a skip, but I mean, it's like you can fast forward some scenes or you can skip with other scenes. But it would be nice if it would just allow you to automatically not, because it's legitimately like every few times you talk to them, it like shifts to visual novel view, and then a longer thing plays out. And it'd just be nice if it just like wouldn't make you even have to fast forward through them.
Okay.
So yeah, it's okay. It's not the best example though. But some of the things that it does is really cool too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can always just keep the cool part and like discard anything that you don't like. I mean, that's the beauty of this hypothetical scenario, right?
You've played through a lot of the Xenoblade games, right? Did they have any kind of character interactions or affinity systems?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you brought up Xenoblade, because that's probably my main thing.
I was thinking it might be.
Yeah, but before that, I guess I can talk a little bit about interacting with NPCs specifically. I want to give props to our friend over at Drasty Games, Alterium Shift. We've talked about it a couple of times. And just the amount of dialogues that you can have by talking to, like, not even an NPC, just talking to a piece of furniture. You have like 20 dialogues that like
Wait, did it really
keep talking to?
How did I miss that?
Because okay, so the developers came by when I was playing the game, and I was talking to the there's so many times when they were like, wow, you're the only person who's ever done that. We've watched other people play this game. And I'm like, good. Because I'm like,
you're just trying to break it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well,
I told him I was going to do it. I'm like, I'm going to try and break your game on stream. So I hope you're prepared for that. So I was checking everything. Every thing has multiple dialogues. And I think it's kind of fun to kind of flip the script a little bit and give you something you don't expect. That's always fun, because the script is from a psychological sense, is NPC will have one, maybe two dialogue, no choices, and they'll repeat themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that whole like NPC. Did you know that there's the whole NPC stream TikTok trend? I think we talked about this. Do you remember?
I've seen it discussed, and I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit, but I didn't know what it was until having seen like the Phil DeFranco show kind of talk about it a little bit more and like show some of it, and it is
bizarre, maybe. Yeah.
It is so weird. Man, okay, but I do not get it.
Yeah, I don't. The point of it is that they call it NPC in such a way that they repeat the line.
Yeah.
So I think that's the point. Is that the script, what we understand NPC in RPG, you talk to them, they give you the same line.
Okay.
They may change the line over time, but they give you the same line, right? So when you flip the script is, oh, by the way, there are 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. So you're like, wait, what's going on? More to discover, and it's fun. So I really like that. Of course, we can't talk about NPC lines without talking about trails, where like they actually have their own like minor stories.
Oh god, yeah. Like it changes after every major event in the game.
Yeah, I really like the whole my favorite, honestly, is what's that town? What's the starting town in Sky?
Oh gosh.
Rio, right? I forgot. There's a starting town.
No.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Yeah, no. There's a bunch of Trails fans who are just like angry typing right now. It's this. How dare you not know?
No. They'll tell you. They'll tell you in a minute.
But
Roland.
So in Roland, yes. Well, I got the first letter right.
Yeah.
Okay, but
thanks, Eagle Knight.
So in there, the general store, where the mom keeps wanting to like hook the son up, like over time, like there's a new worker who just comes, and the mom is constantly like, I bet you she's great for the son, you know, like she's trying to hook them
playing
up.
matchmaker.
Yeah, the story just plays through over time. It's just like, interesting. So every time I go back, I'm like, so any development, like that's the only thing I care about. All the other subplot, I don't care. But this I care. You know, like, I was like so invested into seeing whether or not like they're gonna make any progress. And the son has absolutely no what is it called? I think he like didn't even care. Like he wasn't even thinking about it. He was like, oh yeah, she's a great worker. But anyways, so I thought that was cool. Now, as far as like like a playable character interaction goes, since you brought up Xenoblade, here's what I would say that I like and don't like. What I don't like, which they fixed late in later games, is what they did in Xenoblade 1, basically, where a lot of the stories are locked away from you through these like events that you get to go visit and watch. But there are 2 conditions to watching the event. Number 1, you have to have certain level of affinity, which forces you to basically pair characters and have to grind through the affinity, and they're not easy to grind through. It takes a lot of time to do.
So is that something that takes place like during combat, or
yes? So you have to bring them along, and every character in between characters have their own set of affinity, right? So it isn't just like affinity with the main character.
Oh no. Okay.
It's like, you know, between 2 playable characters, they have their own affinity.
And you basically have to already know who has a scene with who in order to like...
Yeah.
Like, you cannot just like... You have to know what the end goal is before you get there.
Yes. And you have to find the scene, like where it happens, to go there physically and trigger it. So if you don't find it, you don't get to watch it. Even if you find it, your affinity is not high enough, you cannot watch it, and you have to come back at some other point.
But they fixed that in the other later games.
No, the definitive edition is the same. It's because I only played the definitive edition, so I would know. If the original version was even worse, then that's even worse. But I don't think
did they change it in 2 or 3?
It's okay. In 2 or 3, they basically got rid of that. So instead, what they did in 2 and 3, so for 2, Basically, the interaction is already built into the game scenes.
I like that.
So there are little scenes that plays out through the game anyway. So I feel like that took care of a lot of issues. The thing that I didn't like the most about 1 per se in the storytelling is like there are no comedic elements to kind of like let loose the tension and talk more about like them as like individuals.
Yeah.
They're very focused on this like plot and goal, which is it's very plot driven, right? Moving to the second game is a little bit more character driven. It's got a little bit more balance. And then in the last game, the third game, is very character driven. You get a lot of scenes where they talk about how they feel about the wars and the morality, like questions and stuff, which I really like. And it's not locked away from like scenes. It's just part of the natural game progression. And optionally, each of the main character also have their own set of side quests that let you learn even more about these characters as individuals and even more interactions. So that's really cool. I feel like 3 has done probably the best job I've seen in a long time in really exploring the different characters. So in Xenoblade 3, there are different heroes that can join as guest players, and each the hero also gives you like a class that basically all the main playable characters can switch into. Each of those heroes also have sub stories that you can do to learn even more about them and basically the world at large. So
okay, well that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think that one of the So having talked through all of this, I think that one of the things that I would really want in another interaction system, so I really like when they tie into combat. So like you build up an affinity with a character and then that has an effect in combat. Trails in the Sky, or no, I'm sorry. Trails of Cold Steel has that, you know, where like follow-up attacks and things will happen if you increase an affinity between characters. I like that a lot. But I think that there's kind of a drawback where a lot of these, where they have a dedicated character interaction system like Persona or like Trails of Cold Steel, where it feels like all of the relationships are like eventually required to culminate in some form of romance. And I really wish that the player was given a little more agency in that. Because when you have a system like that, it just basically encourages the player to build a harem, which is, I mean, let's be real. I was 16 once, and I would probably have thought that was super cool as a 37-year-old man now. God dang. When did that happen?
I made it very clear that in my P5 run that I would only go for Dr. Legs and no one else. Everyone's like, but you can also romance the teacher. I'm like, no, I don't care. That's not right. Okay?
I know.
Stop it.
Right? Like it just encourages you to be like and that's the other thing is like the other part of me is like, man, that's too much work. Like I'm trying to role play. Like, can you imagine trying to maintain 15 different relationships?
I can't even maintain one. What makes you think I can do double digits? Like, what's wrong with you? Like,
so yeah. Let's just give players a little more control over that sort of thing. I think in the future that'd be pretty great.
Romance doesn't even carry over in Cold Steel, so
I know.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they did it. Like, just
I know it's frustrating. Anyways, so yeah, super great question from the voicemail today. Oh my gosh, we're about an hour, not an hour, but over a half hour, and we haven't even talked any news. Okay, if you would like to leave us a voicemail for next time, please do so at 785-337-3805, or you could also email us at hitpoint@superderekrpgs.com, and we'll respond to your question and give it our best.
Let us know about your favorite character interaction system, playable or not playable, because we're interested to hear about maybe examples that we haven't thought of.
It's definitely it's not the question of the week, but man, that should be one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and move along to some of the Maybe are they upcoming releases yet, or
Only one of them has recently been released, but since we skipped
Okay.
the show, I figured we'd come back and talk about it. But the rest of them are all future stuff.
all right?
So let's begin. All right, this is for all you mecha fans out there. The newest Armored Core game, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, has just launched 2 days ago. This is the only game promise that has already been released, and it looks amazing. And I just want to really quickly check that out for all the mecha fans.
Okay, let's give that a look.
Boy, if you're a mecha fan and you haven't gotten this game, what's wrong with you?
Oh, there we go. Needed to adjust my audio output there. That was really loud. Just blew up my own eardrums.
I know, it's so freaking loud. I was like, what's going on? I forgot to turn down the volume here too. This game looks so
Hit
good.
play
So
on the
my
trailer.
friend, that's how I have a friend who's like really big on Armored Core, and he's been waiting for this. He built a new PC just
For
to play
Armored Core?
this
Dude,
because his old PC wouldn't handle the graphics on high setting.
oh,
He has like a 1080, like it's
That's not bad.
GTX 1080. It's like long time ago. So he just
I mean-
he says, "Forget it. I'm gonna build a brand new PC. It's about time." He found a deal on Micro Center. He bought a new PC, new graphics card, everything. He's so ready for this.
I bet. Look
yeah.
at that.
Oh, this game looks
sick.
so freaking cool. This is like what Square Enix wish they could have done with Front Mission, you know?
Yeah. Man,
Woo.
that does
Yeah, instead
look
we
sick.
got like whatever the heck game came out. I forgot the name of that game again. This game is so cool.
Babylon's Fall. Is that what you're
Also,
thinking
they're
of?
totally like Dark Souls kind of moment because you know it is a From Software game.
Yeah. Is
There are parts
backstab?
where it's like stupid hard. Just don't give up. Just keep trying. Okay, it's gonna be one of those games where difficulty is high.
Yeah.
It's not an easy game. Ooh,
Once something's alive,
I'd love to see a new Zone of Enders. 10,000 noodles. Love to see a new Zone of Enders.
621.
Dude. So is your friend's PC mecha themed? Because it should be.
His new PC?
Yeah.
He doesn't do theme builds, although I could probably convince him to change that.
Man, like if it doesn't look like a Gundam foot, what are you even doing with your life?
Funny you say that because so off topic, but Asus just announced that they will release a whole set of Evangelion EVA2 themed PC peripherals.
Really?
Case, graphics card, what is it? The bracket, and also like motherboard. It's like a whole bunch of things. So you want to do a EVA2 theme build? Yeah, well, congratulations. You totally can.
Well, that'd
It's
be
like
rad.
full red. It looks really cool. It's got like Asuka on it. So yeah,
That's sick.
they did Gundam before. Asus, yeah, they had like a full like peripheral, like a whole bunch of peripherals.
I would just
like
need the
Gundam
case.
themed.
I would just want the case to be like themed and like shaped like a piece of mecha.
Oh, just like a
low
full
poly.
on like robot.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want it to look like a mecha. I would just want it to look like, I don't know, like the chest plate or whatever. Just something that looks like it's, made of armor.
I think that would be cool. I can, I'll post this is like off, but I'll post it in chat for people to see.
Oh, okay.
This is the OG Hyperion EVA2 edition. It actually looks really sick. If I was an Asuka fan, I would consider it, but I'm a Rey fan, so no Asuka here. Oh, sorry, I have a theme build, so I'm good. Okay, so continuing on with this. So, of course, this game is available on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, and PC via Steam. Just no Switch, because I don't think this game can run on the Switch.
You're probably right. If I was If I was a betting man, if the Switch can't run Red Dead 2,
yeah, it's like I don't think the Switch can run this. So let's not ask it to do the impossible, right? There are physical editions. Then there are 4 physical editions. Thank you, Bandai Namco, for making it super complicated. So here it is. The standard edition is just the game. The deluxe edition comes with the game and art book and an original soundtrack, which is probably what I'm getting. The collector's edition comes with a hardcover art book, 4 pin badges, a set of 45 stickers, because why not, I guess. The steelbook case and a 19-centimeter figure, which I cannot convert to inches. So you're just going to have to live with the metric system now, don't you? Last but not least, there's the premium version, which comes with basically everything I just said: the game, the art book, the soundtrack, the pin badges, the stickers, steelbook case, the 19-centimeter figure, and a 32-centimeter garage that basically, it encompasses the figure. So it looks really cool. Not gonna lie.
How
it's
much
also
is
a little
that?
pricey. I don't even know.
Don't know?
I don't know if it's even available anymore, to be honest with you.
It probably sold out, but it's probably like $3,000 or something.
No, it's like 250. I'm gonna guess 250 to 300. Let's see how much. Let's see how much it is.
Okay.
How much? Oh no, God, it's $450.
Well,
not quite 1,000.
You win by Price is Right rules. So
yay! What did I win?
Well, I'll tell you what everybody else won. The wait is finally over, because now we won. We've won, but we got the most anticipated indie of RPGs of all year just coming out around the corner. Sea of Stars will be releasing digitally on August 29th, just a couple of days away. If you're watching this tomorrow, it comes out tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
It's coming out on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X, S, Switch, and PC via Steam. And I think, did we get a brand new trailer for this as well?
We did, and it looks great.
It's always looked great, though. That's the funny thing. But let's check out this trailer, because I don't think I've seen the new trailer yet.
Let's do it. They introduced a new character, new playable character in this one. So there are a couple of playable characters throughout that you'll meet. They introduced a new one, the 4th character that's playable.
There's a 4th. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are like 6 playable characters in total. But yeah.
Man, this game just...
I know! That looks so good!
Yeah, what more do you even need to say? It just... It looks so good.
We geeked out over it since like the initial announcement. And we've been geeking over it since.
Man.
Yeah, so these are 3 of the these 3 are the characters that they've basically always shown. Here's the 4th character.
This is like
it's a ninja.
This is one of the oh cool.
Yeah.
This is like one of the 2 RPGs that I've just been waiting for. The other Eiyuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes.
Eiyuden Chronicle, oh yeah.
But like this, I mean, Sapphire also looks pretty good. Is that out yet? Sapphire? I don't know. I need to look it up again. But this. Oh.
Yeah, this along with like Chain Echo, Alterium Shift,
yeah. Man.
Eiyuden Chronicle, those are like my personal most anticipated like indies.
Yeah. Holy cow, man.
This is just so freaking like
that is so fluid. Oh.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I know. Everything is just so well done. You win, Sea of Stars, okay? You win.
Oh
you
my
win.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe how irresponsibly hyped I am for this game right now, everybody.
I am irresponsibly hyped as well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get to see more of that here soon, but A game's coming out on the 29th. It is currently the 27th, and man, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to try it before you buy it, the demo is still available for all supported platforms. Fans of the physical versions of games, well, Sabotage has you covered. They will be partnering with I Am 8-Bit to bring the physical version of the game to life. The bad news, though, is that the physical release will not be available until early 2024. And the pre-orders have not yet begun.
Nope. The pre-order has not begun, just in case you guys want to. Where's the link? Where's the link? I got to pre-order now.
I was looking for the link already. Like, as soon as I heard.
I did. Yeah.
I know. Like, link, please, now. Give link. I was
like, how dare you tell me there's a physical edition and tell us where, like, who's doing it, and then not give us the pre-order.
I know.
Shame.
I know. The thing is, I just hope that it's not. I hope they do pre-order. Here's the thing. I hope that they do pre-orders so they can scale production to meet demand, because I don't think they know how much we're going to end up buying this game.
I am going to, if they have a collector's edition, they haven't said anything yet, but if there's a collector's edition, it's gonna happen.
I know, and it's gonna disappear overnight. You know,
just
because I was telling Baku this before the show started. I said I was doing a little bit of market research to find out, like who's currently got the most buzz going on right now in the world of RPGs, and it's neck and neck right now between Persona 3. Reloaded and Sea of Stars, which, I mean, Persona 3 Reloaded isn't like, it's coming out a while from now, but this is like a big media hype of theirs. They're like, here's all the announcements here, we're making a big fuss. And Sea of Stars is just like, hey, we're an indie RPG, we're about to come out, and it's like neck and neck between these two. Like, it is ridiculous, like how big this game is getting. But honestly, like, look at it.
I am 8-Bit. I hope you guys are ready for just the flood of fans who will, flood your site. And, I hope you're ready. I hope you can handle this, because I've seen the other stuff they've done and they're pretty cool, but I don't know if they can handle this volume. So I hope they're prepared.
I feel like I've bought something else from I Am 8-Bit before also, but I can't remember what. But
they did the Cuphead thing. I thought that was pretty cool. But I have reasonable expectation that they would do a limited edition, just because they've done so many for other games already.
It does seem like it would be fitting, doesn't it?
They haven't announced it, but I feel like they will. So, of course, when we get more of those news, we'll be sure to bring that to you. But probably going to be after this game release digitally anyway. So, I'm going to be waiting. I hate to have to wait, but I will be waiting for the physical edition before I play the game. Just like Chain Echoes, which I'm still waiting for them to send us the collector's edition. They said September. We'll see. All right. So the next game on the release soon category is none other than NISA's own Rhapsody, Marl Kingdom Chronicles. So they will be releasing Rhapsody 2 and 3 double pack, which they're calling it the Marl Kingdom Chronicles. Also on the 29th for PS5, Switch, and the PC via Steam. Very strange that it's not on PS4. I don't know why, but we've actually got 2 separate trailers. One for Rhapsody 2, one for Rhapsody 3. So we can just take a quick look at those two. I don't know if we need to watch the whole thing, but
okay. Well,
I'll
like let you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Like a minute-ish.
Oh.
No.
There we go.
Got it. Okay.
I was gonna say I'll let you skip around if you feel the need.
Ballad of the Little Princess.
So yeah, they gave the in-depth. They basically gave like an in-depth like spotlight trailer for 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So rather than like one trailer that did both, I think that's pretty cool.
I think that makes sense.
And it's voiced.
Mm-hmm. Now these are games that, gosh, we never got these in the West, right?
I forgot which one we never got. It might have been 3 that we never got. Don't mark my words for it. I honestly cannot remember. But at least one of them we never got in the West. Like this is the first time we're getting it, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, so you guys want to play some like really old school, not just like retro inspired, but an actual pretty retro kind of RPG? Like now's the chance. Rhapsody was really fun. So I don't believe I played 2 or 3, but I remember Rhapsody being super fun way back. It's a new adventure, Rhapsody 2.
Okay.
Kingdom Chronicles.
That looks pretty awesome. And then
Yeah.
let's go ahead and
And
check
then-
out the trailer.
The third one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Also, for anyone who's curious, like, well, I see Rhapsody 2 and 3. What happened to the first game? The first game is already, the remaster is already released, so you can already pick that up.
Was that a standalone or was that part of
No, it
another
was
bundle?
bundled with something.
Was it Prinny?
This is for the sake of love, meow.
I can't remember which one that got bundled with.
Hang on. It was bundled with something. Hang on. I'll tell you in a sec.
All right.
It was bundled with La Pucelle.
Oh, La Pucelle.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in the NIS Classics Volume 3. So if anyone is like, okay, well, this is fine with the second and third game, but where's the first game so I can complete the collection? Get NIS Classic Volume 3.
Nice.
That one is also a double pack with La Pucelle and Rhapsody 1.
I love the look of these guys. Like,
Yeah, right? It does remind me like of like the good old days.
yeah,
Just even just the way that character move on the map.
yeah. A little bit of like Trails in the Sky kind of look. A little bit of Grandia kind of
Yeah.
look. You know, pixel art on a 3D plane. I like it a lot. That
Yeah.
mix, that turn of the like 32-bit era RPG. Ah, that such a
You guys
classic
just
look.
reminded me to pick one up.
To pick what up?
to pick the game up.
Oh, to get a copy of the physical version.
Yes. I almost forgot about this game, so I'm just like, oh, wait, I need to go pick it up. Anyways, don't mind me.
Is this
sorry,
show being particularly hard on your wallet, Baku?
You know, I'm the only person that I have to blame for this.
I know.
I accept all the consequences of being a super busy fan of RPGs, and RPGs in particular, because they're so freaking long.
I mean,
But we always underestimate how long they are when we buy it, and then overestimate our ability to play through them. And the backlog ever increase, and my wallet shrinks ever more.
dude, doing the top 10 videos for the Super Nintendo RPGs has been really unkind to me.
Oh.
There's you might be able to spot a couple of packages back there that are just
no.
yeah. It's particularly tough being surrounded by the things you love all the time.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Like RPG fan and also a retro RPG fan
And collector
will hurt you.
Oh, yeah.
And collector.
It hurts.
will
It hurts a
hurt you.
lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's about
All right.
everything that's coming out this week. Oh, but did you
wait,
want to
hold on? No,
Yeah.
there's still a little bit, just a little bit.
Okay.
There are physical editions, by the way, for this Marl Kingdom release. So I always want to cover the physical edition because I'm a fan of physical editions. So I want to make sure that y'all know about it. But they're basically only 2 versions. The deluxe version is kind of already the base game with a mini art book and double-side poster, and then you've got the limited edition with the hardcover book, two disc soundtrack. So 2
Nice.
sets of 2 disc soundtracks.
Oh.
So 1 for each game. Yeah, so 4 discs total. Art cards and also 2 acrylic display, 1 for Rhapsody 2, 1 for Rhapsody 3, and also a cloth poster. So for like just the big fans out there of the Rhapsody game, I think this would make a pretty cool gift for if you have someone you know in your life who is a big fan of this game. I think that would be pretty cool.
Well, Baku,
there you
I'm
go.
sorry, your birthday is already passed, so
I know.
I won't be getting you unless.
okay. We
I
can
mean, there's always
wait
Christmas.
until next year. You wait until next year. It's fine. All right.
Okay, now it's time for us to start talking about some games that were newly announced, and we had a couple of events going on this year.
That's right.
This
yeah.
week or so.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot to recap.
Oh,
So
yeah.
before we talk about Gamescom, let's dive into a little bit of stuff that happened at the Playism game show.
Yes.
Starting-
play some game show.
Starting with Break Arts 3, which came from developer Mercury Studio. It is a mech customizing all-around competitive sport game called Break Arts 3. There are 3 modes in this game. There's race, battle, and battle racing.
Yes.
All right, let's check out this trailer because this looks like it could be interesting.
Oh, it certainly is. So just to give a little explanation about the 3 modes, there is of course racing mode, which is basically just the fastest robot wins. Like it's
Yeah.
you're just on the racetrack, just like this.
Oh, but you need to be a good mecha pilot though too.
Yeah, so you just got to be fast.
Oh, that looks like
right?
a really slippery track. Oh, I guess they all kind
So
of
then
do.
there's battle mode, which is not about racing, but like an arena battle between like 2 bots, and you're just beating the crap out of each other, right?
Yeah.
And then there's battle racing, which is like Mario Kart. So you're racing, but you can also like attack other characters.
Okay, this looks like it would be honestly right up my alley. This is so stupid, but so one of my favorite things from playing Kingdom Hearts back in the day
Yeah.
was being able to make your own ship and like customize the heck out
Yeah.
of it and like make it do whatever. The gummy ships, dude, it's so stupid how much I got into that, just like beefing it up, like putting things in different spots, just like building my own mecha, but as a spaceship, right? That looks like
Armor Core though. You don't play Armor Core?
I never played it. No.
You should play Armor Core. I mean,
Oh wait, that's not true. I did play it once, but I played it with a friend of mine, and they didn't tell me how to play it, and they just like threw me into like a arena mode, and I got my butt kicked in like 4-player. Like it was rough.
Dude, you should try the new Armor Core. I'm sure they've made a lot of changes to the game that makes it a little bit more accessible by now. It's still hard, but you know.
I'll stick to custom robo on game.
Yeah, Brick Arts is a interesting game. So there's also like online co-op and online PvP play. So as you would expect. So,
And
yeah, pretty
it
cool.
looks like it's currently being developed for PC only.
Yes.
But yeah, there's no release date that we have been given just yet. But that as somebody who has only just started tipping their toes into the fandom of mecha,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even believe I've said
fun looking
that.
game. Yeah.
But that looks sick. Oh,
Yeah, it's a fun looking game.
okay.
All right, next up we've got this is a fun one. KAMiBAKO Games announced the sequel to their popular crustacean combat action game. You heard it right. It's called Fight Crab 2.
Oh,
Let's take a look at Fight Crab.
Fight Crab 2.
Fight Crab 2. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Fight Crab before, but it's a fun game.
I have not. Let's check it out. Is this going to copy strike me? I hope not.
It's like there you go. This
What?
That's
That's a tractor crab.
fighting game. Where
There's
you
people in the
basically-
arena. What?
Yes, you control a crab that's like welding weapons against another crab.
What?
It's-
Is that like a crab pilot on their back?
yes, that's a crab
What?
pilot on their back. It's
What?
a fun game. You can play Fight Crab immediately now against a friend. It's such a fun game to play against people.
Oh, that's a
it's
king
so
crab.
ridiculous.
That is a giant enemy crab if I have ever seen one.
Yes. Fight Crab 2.
That is incredible.
So yeah.
This is why I say that we're also a niche news show, because that is probably not a JRPG. But my gosh, how could we not talk about that?
I will tell you guys about crazy fun games. Like again, game is about fun. So like let loose, have some fun, play with friends. Fight Crab is one of such game. I played it with friends and it's a lot of fun. You end up laughing half the time. The physics is a little janky, right? Just
It
kind of
sounds
the
like
same way.
It seems like the jank would make it better.
Yes. It's kind of like a what's that game called? Was it a goat simulator or
Oh,
is it a goat simulator? Like, yeah, it's like a game like that. Like, but okay, less janky, but like the jank is part of the game, it's part of the fun. So, definitely highly recommended. I can't wait until Minecraft 2 comes out. Again, the first game is already available, so you want to check it out on Steam. This game, however, is also being developed on PC. It is available. Oh, it will be available through Steam, and it's looking like it's going to be released sometime next year in 2024.
okay.
Yes.
Well, AolW Inc.
Mhm.
is giving us a new roguelike action-adventure game called
Mhm.
Metal Bringer.
Metal Bringer.
From the Steam page, a young girl named Surya wakes
Yes.
up in a laboratory and finds out that she's been put into cryosleep for 1,000 years without her knowledge. This is making me think of Futurama.
Right?
In order to search for, if this doesn't turn out to be a Futurama RPG, I'll be very disappointed. In order to search for the rest of humanity, she builds labor with her trusty buds and sends them off to investigate. Builds
Yes.
labor. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's an explanation. Yeah.
Okay. So build and control android soldiers called labor, or have them pilot giant machines called arms, both of which are highly customizable.
Yes.
And we've got a trailer for Metal Bringer as well.
I feel like you might be interested in this game. I don't. It's got that like
PlayStation 1 era kind of look to it.
almost
Yeah.
PlayStation 2.
I feel like they're going for PlayStation 1 though,
Yeah.
with like the pixelated edges. This,
I really like the look of this.
yeah, or it kind of actually it's a bit more PSP, honestly. Like,
A little PSP.
yeah, like
I think it's really cool looking. And you can customize the arms, the robot like this.
yeah, yeah. This looks like a PSP game. That looks pretty cool.
And there's a waifu for you, of course.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, robot waifu at the end of the show. Yeah, dude, that looks really cool. I'm actually really interested in this one. Because of the robot waifu. But
Well,
also,
I mean,
you
we
know,
already have one robot waifu, and it's I guess, and I
the
don't,
thumbnail.
and I don't think you need more than one robo waifu. Okay.
The more the merrier. I am in the waifu appreciation club.
Oh,
So-
that's right. That is true. just no more than one per game.
No more than one per game, maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, so yeah, we had that pretty awesome trailer. This game is also currently being developed for PC for release sometime in 2024.
All right. Next up, we've got a game from Kanata Lab. It's just bringing us a really interesting game, and the game is called 34 Everlast. Okay, and this is the game where they claim, and I quote, a AAA style game you can buy and clear before bed on weeknights. So each game loop can be cleared in as little as 10 minutes with no game overs. It is what they're calling a super concentrated action entertainment for busy working adults. Yeah,
That
talk
sounds
about really
right up my
respecting
alley.
your time, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's take a look at the trailer that they showed off in what is it called, in the Playism game show.
Yeah, let's check this out. This
Oh no, this is the wrong trailer.
Nope, that's the wrong one. Oh, sorry.
I got it.
Thank you.
I wish they had more gameplay. I'll tell you now that the trailer doesn't have as much gameplay as I would like. There's a lot of expositions and a lot of like filling in the background of the game, but I wanted to see more about the game. If you can finish it in 10-minute loop, you can give me like a good amount of gameplay already.
I was gonna say it'd be pretty rad if for a trailer or something down the line,
music's cool.
they just like show one loop
Right.
as like a 10-minute trailer or something.
So it's so called 34 because there are 34 endings.
Oh,
So I've been told. So basically, you're going through and trying to get all the endings. Probably is the point of the game.
I see.
Yeah, you try to play through and do things differently. Yeah,
Okay, well that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It looks like a little action RPG.
I just wish they'd show us more gameplay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to recommend it, but I think it's something that I'll be keeping my eye on. Because they're trying something different. Like these are all indie games, by the way. Like indie games, one of the big advantages again is their ability to take some risk and try different formats, try different ways to play. I definitely encourage it. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, and they may not get it right, in the first go, but they're trying new things, and I respect that. It's something that like larger studios just don't really have the luxury in doing. We
Yeah.
wish that they would, but they have to answer to the stakeholders and board, yada yada.
Yeah.
Small studios like these are just innovating in ways that big studios cannot. So again, it's kind of strange. 10-minute loop, kind of skeptical, a little suspect, but again, I respect that they're trying new things. So
Yeah.
this game is currently developed for PC, also releasing sometime next year in 2024.
I'm very intrigued by this. Like, have you ever heard of something called like a one sentence horror story?
No, I have not. What is that about?
Well, I mean, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a super concentrated horror story boiled down into a single sentence.
I want to hear one. And it better not be a run-on because that's cheating.
No. I mean, there's a ton of them out there.
Okay.
I don't know what they are. I think that there's even a subreddit dedicated to it.
Just the whole Reddit dedicated to
I think so.
one sentence.
I think it is, yeah. But
Okay.
it's really interesting to see. It's just a really interesting exercise to see how much of a story you can concentrate into like its quintessential. It's very solidified, densest form, and to see how impactful it can still be. So, I mean, a single 10-minute run of the game. Like, I wonder how much story they try to pack into that 10 minutes, or is it like, I don't know. It sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah, I want to see it.
I'm definitely interested, so I'll keep my eyes out for that one. Okay, so the trailer that I accidentally shown a little bit of is tied into this next one. Is last, but it is not least from the Playism showcase. Phantom Rose 2 Sapphire finally gets a release date and a new trailer. We talked about this game previously when it was first announced. This is a roguelike deck building game where you fight as Arya, who is trying to survive her school that has been ravaged by evil creatures.
Ooh, evil creatures.
Oh man, let's check out the trailer here.
This time is definitely a deck building game. I made sure of it. It is what they have told me from the developers.
Okay.
So it's a deck building game. Don't get mad at me and tell me it's not a deck building game.
Did that happen last time?
Oh no, it's just a reference to a different game that
okay.
I had accidentally called a deck building game when it wasn't.
Oh.
This time I made sure that this is a deck building game. Don't add me.
Deck building confirmed.
Go talk to the devs. They told me that's a deck building game.
Weeb sauce, more like weeb sus.
But so yeah, if you guys are looking for a deck building game, man, like this one actually looks really cool. I know there are some fans out there for this type of gameplay.
Yeah, and it comes out the day before Halloween this year. And for those of you who don't keep up with Halloween, that's October 30th. It's coming out on October 30th. for PC via Steam.
Heck
So,
yeah.
Yeah, pretty good timing
Right.
for an action horror game, or not action,
Yeah.
but a deck building horror game.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of talked about like different kinds of horror games. Like, oh, how come we don't have like a horror RPG or a horror whatever? Well, I think maybe they heard our show and they're like, oh, here are the different kinds of horror games. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Just all for Derek to play.
I just
favorite
thought of something I
genre
need to
after
write
all.
down real quick.
All right. So now that we've gone through Playism Game Show, and I think you guys can see why I was so busy writing, because I was going through the Playism Game Show, and then now we're going to start Gamescom coverage. And boy, that was a lot of hours of just watching through and being like, okay, what do I care to talk about? And I'll tell you, Gamescom, there were a lot of games that I just generally didn't think I cared. And some games are already released. Some games we've already talked about. Like Ultrian Shift was in Gamescom, which is really cool. But here are the ones that I've discovered through Gamescom that I feel like you all may care about. Let's start with KAMiBAKO, Mythology of Cube from Gravity Game Arise. And here's what the developer is calling this game. It is a crafting, cross puzzles, cross battle, cross RPG game. A lot of things going on here. Essentially, you play as the restorer who is sent by the goddess to try to save the world from the great division and fragmentation. I think the trailer will make a little bit more sense.
So the restorer is basically the disk defragger.
This the fragmenter. the fragmentator.
All right, let's check out the trailer there.
Yes. I think this game tries to do a lot of things. There's like land restoration, so kind of like Ark Rises or like was it Legend of Mana kind of deal. You also have to play these kind of puzzles, which I'm not sure. I think it ties to like land restoration.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's land restoration. Here's the land restoration. Yeah, you're restoring the land.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for that.
yeah. And then you see how like you can travel through that like map. Right. And then
Yeah.
there's the RPG element too that you'll see in so there's crafting.
Yeah.
Of course. They did say that there's crafting in it.
Dude.
You
yeah.
build a
okay.
town.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Sounds fun. Oh, you build them square by square. Like, yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Dark Cloud 1.
And then there's battle.
Yeah. Is that looks like turn-based? Yeah. Okay.
Looks that way. It looks a little bit like Atelier kind of battle where like you have like a special class person who's the restorer, and then you have like two people who will like do the actual like, well, not actual fighting, but do more combat focused things. Not quite the same, just a little similar. Whereas like Atelier, you will all fight, but like you know the alchemist has like a very special role, being able to use like you know all the alchemy
Yeah.
goods and whatnot. But I think this is a little different here. So yeah, so you can see how like the land is being restored and whatnot. So basically, like the lands are being split out into these cubes and blocks. That's where the mythology of cube is coming from. And you're sent there to try to restore the land, to try to sort of bring the pieces back and to rebuild. So
That looks really cool. I'm
right?
I'm actually pretty excited about that one. Like I know it's a pretty subdued response, but I'm just like connecting dots, and I'm like, this is like Soul Blazer. This is
Soul Blazer. There you go. Yes.
it's like Soul Blazer. It's like Dark Cloud. It's
Yeah.
definitely like, you know, doing a little bit of that, like restoring the world, Terranigma. It's definitely like doing the thing where it's like, hey, we know you like these things. just poking me in the feels. And I'm like, okay, hang on, is this going to be good? I hope it's good. It better be good, because this sort of thing is right up my alley. I love it a lot.
Well, you know what? There are many ways to play the game. It is currently being developed with PS4, 5, Switch, and PC. And if I'm reading it correctly, it's also being developed for mobile phones, which made me have a double take. Because as soon as any game is developed for mobile, I'm like, is this free to play? Is this free to play?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no indication it's free to play. There's no indication that it's freemium. It just happens that it will be released on phones, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Because again, we've gone through this many times, but it bears repeating. There are just people with no game consoles and no PC. They can only game on mobile phones, and they want games that are not gacha, right? So this feels like it would be one of those games where it would just be like a set price. You pay for it, and you can play it on your phone or mobile devices like an iPad.
Let's hope that's the case.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that that's the case. If it changes and it becomes like a freemium thing, you'll never hear us talk about it again. But so far, from all the readings I've done, which is maybe like 20 different sites, including the homepage itself, there's absolutely no indication that it is a free-to-play title for now. We'll see.
All right. Well, we've got another game that's coming out from Gravity Game Arise. And this one comes as a cinematic, realistic, forensic investigation sim called Tokyo Psychodemic. You'll be playing as a detective who is tasked to review information of unsolved cases and try to arrive at the truth.
The truth.
And we have a trailer for that too.
Oh, this game also looks super fascinating. This is probably especially cool for people who are who likes like detective like games.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah. So the premise of the game is that there's some kind of super deadly virus that got spread in Tokyo.
Oh, weird. I wonder what inspired that.
Yeah, I wonder. With the death rate is higher than Ebola. The prime minister passes away. 200,000 people died in Tokyo. Tokyo was in a complete lockdown.
Oh.
That's the premise of the game.
Okay. So that was some like found footage sort of stuff. Okay, so it's kind of like
you can check the footage, you can hack into things, you can check different pieces of evidence, you can see security, you can see a lot of security footage.
All right.
Yeah.
This could be kind of interesting.
I think it's a really interesting game for people who likes literally playing detectives.
Yeah.
You can question people. Yeah, this is this pit boss. So one is your boss and one is your like sidekick, I guess. So there you go. That's the Tokyo Psychodemic. Looks really cool.
Well, that's really awesome.
Right?
Okay. Well, so it's currently being developed for PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, the Series X, S, and PC via Steam, but not Switch. And there's also no release date as of yet.
Sad. Okay. The last game from the Gamescom that I thought was even remotely interesting enough to talk about is a new Metroidvania game from developer Codewalkers and publisher Hype Train Digital called Akatori. This game was formerly called Death Stick, and I'm kind of glad that they changed the name. Like when I hear Death Stick,
it sounds like a cigarette from like
yeah.
It sounds like from what was it, the prequels, the Star Wars prequels?
Mm-hmm.
I think they called them Death Sticks.
Did they really?
I think they did.
Yeah, but Akatori sounds way better. So good on them for changing that name. So this game's got some really gorgeous pixel arts that I was very happy to see. You will play as Mako, who explore multiple worlds in order to find the ancient gods in order to stop the dark ritual from happening. Let's take a look at that trailer.
All right, let's give it a look. As soon as the trailer loads. Okay, there we go.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. Dude, that's very pretty.
Right?
Bright, colorful.
Very fluid, very colorful, very great looking pixel arts.
I dig the mechanic of like throwing your spear into the wall and like jumping off of it. Or is it a staff?
Bow staff, yeah.
That's still,
Definitely a bow staff.
yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, this is Akatori. So, Metrovania fans, man, y'all eating good this year. There's so many Metrovania games that we covered already, and they all looked like really good. But just add another one to that list. It is currently being developed for PC and the Switch with no release date, unfortunately. But hey, something for you to look forward to, right?
Man, yeah, having looked at that trailer, why would they ever have called that Death Stick?
Yeah, I don't know why they called it Death Stick. Maybe they changed their gameplays. It's like, yeah, maybe this is not a good idea.
Yeah, maybe so.
Akatori is a way better name. Good job, guys. Good job, developers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good choice.
All right. So you want me to take this next one?
Please do.
Okay, here we go. So, we were told of the release date for two highly anticipated game in this past week. I'm gonna take one of them, and that is GranBlue Fantasy Relink. You guys have heard this for many times now. I think what they originally announced is in like 2017 or something, like 7 years ago.
Yeah, I had a video that I put out like that year saying that I was hyped to play that game. Like, it was actually a really good video, but I was still living in Seattle at the time. That's how long ago it was.
Right. Well, now we have a firm release date, which is great. And I know there are people who are like, I'll believe it when I see it release. Me too. Okay. But it doesn't change the fact that this is the first time they're giving us like a firm date, not a range, not a season, not a quarter, not just a year, but like an actual like boom, here's the date. Yeah. And they have also talked about the different editions that you can get. We'll talk a little bit about that, but first, trailer time. Let's go.
All right.
Let's get hype. Hype responsibly. Let's get a little hype. Just a little tinsy hype. Tiny hype. This is their latest trailer.
Will you heed the call? Most likely. I mean, I declared it like 7 years ago that I was hyped to play it.
Yeah, I heed the call 7 years ago, so, you know. Let me answer to the call. Why won't you let me answer?
One way back is to restore the forbidden primal.
And as you imagine, there's English voice acting, so for anyone who really wants English voice acting is there.
Now, I know that this is part of like an overarching larger series.
Yes.
Of
GranBlue Fantasy is a mobile gacha game.
Okay, I really hope that you don't have to have played those to understand this.
I hope not. I hope not. And the fighting game you kind of do. So they released like a fighting game. You kind of do, but it's a fighting game, so like you kind of don't care, right?
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that this game they don't require you to have played the mobile game. Fingers crossed.
Let's hope.
Because boy, that would be extremely unfortunate if they expect you to play the mobile game and then come here.
You know, if this game is as good as it looks, let it be said that nothing ever good came of mobile gacha games. Because this will be like the first redeeming thing to come out of the mobile gacha market.
No, actually, I think the fighting game even. The fighting game is already out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and the fighting game was amazing. Like, I don't even like fighting game, but it was a really good game. It was really fun. Now, of course, fans can tell me otherwise, but I'm not like a big fighting game guy. I just played with friends, and it was really fun. In fact, they're coming with an enhanced version of that game that we've also touched on before. But this is the action RPG, of course, that Cygames had also. Cygames worked with Platinum on some of the battle animation and system for sure. Basically, I think it's a 4 characters in a party max. Action RPG. It looks really cool. You get to run around with your party. And there are a lot of different playable characters in this game, as you have seen already. So I can't wait to see like how you can pick and choose and set your parties. It's just so many things that I want to know about the game system that has not been answered. But you know what they have answered?
What's that?
Is all the different versions of the game.
Hey.
And this is where I sat and have to like read and reread and make sure I'm getting all the information correct. So here it is. The physical edition will have 4 different editions, whereas the digital edition will have 3. So let's start.
Let me guess. They're going to come in black boxes, and you don't know which version you got until you buy it and open it up.
You give the same amount of money, but you don't know which one you're going to get. Well, thankfully, that's not the case, because, boy, I would really hate that. Let's start with the digital version, because the digital version, you can already go and pre-order, I think. It comes in the standard version, which is just the base game, okay? The special edition, which comes with the base game, and some in-game items, something called like the False Sword of the Apocalypse. No idea what that is, but sounds kind of cool, I guess. Cosmetic goods and some other like quality of life goods. Okay, so that's the special edition. And then finally you have the digital deluxe edition, which basically all the stuff, and also the digital art book and a soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
So that's your digital version. Okay, easy enough. Here's the physical version of the game. You also have standard, which is the base game. You also have the special edition, which is the base game and all those cosmetic items, DLC, all that fun stuff. Okay, so they're all the same. Here's the deluxe edition physical, which is probably what I'm going to get. Instead of a digital art book and soundtrack, you get a 12-track CD soundtrack, so physical, 5 postcard, and also a 100-page art book, physical.
Okay.
Not digital. So, and I believe it's the same price. So, digital deluxe versus physical deluxe, I'm probably going to get physical deluxe.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, if you are a huge fan of GranBlue Fantasy, you can also get the collector's edition, which only comes for the physical. It comes with all the things that I've listed, and also a proto Bahamut figure, and also a replica sort of Ale's keychain for a cool $199.99 US. So if there are fans of the series who just really wants that proto Bahamut figure, $200. For me though, I probably will be getting the deluxe edition, because I'm a sucker for art books.
Seems about right. Art book
Yeah.
and a CD soundtrack, even if it is only 12 tracks, that's not terrible.
Yeah. So I'll probably be getting that one. But hey, if you want the physical like limited edition stuff, they will be available over at the Xseed store, but the pre-order has not open yet, which is driving me crazy. Like the 2 games that I really want a physical edition of, they're not open for pre-order. But whenever they do open, we'll be sure to let you all know. So yeah, that's the coverage for GranBlue Fantasy Relink, and it's coming out February 1st of next year on
right.
PS4, PS5, PC via Steam.
It's
February
very
1st.
exciting.
Ooh, man, next year is going to be...
I feel like we say that about every year, but it's true.
And we've been right every year.
It's true. It's true. It's been true.
Yeah.
My wallet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I gotta tell you, I think that Atlas is the master of making me re-buy the same game over and over, because Persona 3 Reload has finally got a firm release date from Atlas, and a trailer to go with it.
Yeah.
So I actually haven't looked at this trailer yet, despite the fact that I do have overwhelming amounts of hype for this game, despite everything. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's the good memories that stay with you and gets people through their struggles. But it's also the mistakes you made that haunt you forever.
Oh, there's the evoker.
To join you back
You know, I think there was some question about whether or not the evokers would be in this game due to the theme.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they're
I
making a
can't
return.
imagine them not having it, though.
No, I mean, absolutely
the
not.
luxury of doing anything else.
God, this song.
The song gives me PTSD.
I know.
To destroy the Dark Hour itself.
Let's head into Tartarus and try out our new equipment.
It's a really good song. It's just
So they got new outfits for exploring Tartarus, it looks like. Instead of just like their
We expected a
school uniforms.
careless.
Persona abilities can be dangerous.
Kind of looks
depending
cool.
on how they're used.
I want to use this power to help me live my own life. Take this seriously. I never noticed you could see the stars so clearly up here.
Knowing
This is-
things isn't everything, right?
I wonder how many of these voice actors
It sounds interesting.
are reprising their roles.
Promise.
was P3 voiced? I don't remember.
Yeah. Not fully, but pretty significant amount of it was. Like a very substantial amount of it was.
For fighting.
A very substantial amount was not also, but I'd say about like all of the main storyline events were.
It looks good enough that I would consider replaying this. I was making a bet with Mr. Invalid whether or not I'll play this.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder said all the voice actors are new.
All the voice actors are new.
Yeah.
That's too bad. There were some of my favorite voice actors in the original, but it's all right. Oh god, that song. How do you hear that song and not be like, okay, time to dive back in. Let's go. Oh god. Yep.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So that's also getting a physical version that is up for pre-order already. The standard base game and Persona 4 Golden background music pre-order bonus is also a thing. So the standard. Hang on, am I reading this right? So the standard base game comes with a Persona 4 Golden background music pre-order bonus. Yes. Okay.
Yes,
So
that's
if you-
that's
so-
the pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
If you order now, you get
Got
it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So and does that mean like when it says background? So you can play Persona 4 Golden background music during your playthrough of Persona 3
I
Reload,
would assume. I would
guess.
assume that's what they mean.
trying to dissect that. That was a
Mhm.
confusing line to dissect. There, but
Yes.
that's pretty cool because I do like Persona 4 Golden music.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then
I like all the Persona music.
and then I mean I like most of the Persona music. I think Persona 1 on PSP had a little bit of an extra poppy kind of music that didn't really jive with me, but otherwise I mean they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
And then there's the Aegis version, which comes with an art book, a soundtrack, the Persona 3 Reload DLC pack, and the Aegis figure. PlayStation 4 and 5 is already sold out. Well, I missed out.
Yeah,
I missed the boat
PlayStation
on
4 and
that.
5. Well, no, PlayStation 4 and 5 limited edition. was
Yeah,
sold out.
I guess I missed the boat there. Bummer.
Yeah, you did. I mean, if I knew you wanted it, I would have told you because I
Oh, it's
saw it
okay.
was still open. I deliberately not bought it because I didn't think I wanted.
Yeah.
But the Xbox edition is still available if you just want all those things.
Of course it is, because who would buy it on that?
Yeah, but
Just kidding.
But here,
I'm
yeah, but
sorry.
here's the thing for people who just really wants this. If you really, really, really want, these items, just get the Xbox version. It's still available. I actually just checked it while we were chatting, watching the video. It's still available. You can go to for the US folks, anyways. It's still available on GameStop and Amazon. You just have to get the Xbox version. You can still get those goods and then maybe just trade the game with somebody else who has the PS4, PS5 version, or just get that and sell your Xbox copy. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. The game,
But that's assuming
itself,
that there's
yeah.
anybody to buy the Xbox version.
But big yikes.
Sorry. Sorry. I can't help but rib the Xbox a little bit.
Yeah. But boy, if you just, I mean, look, paying scalpers would basically be the same markup anyway.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So you might as well just do it. Yeah. If you really want it, you really missed the sell, you have no other choice. I think this is a perfectly valid like alternative. So just throwing that out there.
That's actually a pretty good choice. Pretty good point you raised there.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
Okay.
the on the 2nd of February, the day after GranBlue Fantasy Relink, is when this game is going to come out on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, the Xbox One, Series XS, Switch, and PC via Steam.
That's right.
So yeah, February going to be a good month for people who are a fan of the color blue.
Oh boy, Persona.
I read that out somewhere. I can't take credit for that, but it's true.
So what? It's blue and then it's yellow and then red. Like what's P6?
I think that's right.
Green? Yeah.
Oh, P6? Gosh, if I was a betting man, yeah, probably I'd say, yeah, I would go with green.
Cannot wait. All right, and that wraps up all the new games that are coming out. All of them looks really good. Obviously, which one are you most excited about? All the games that we've seen so far, other than P3 and GranBlue, of course. Those are
Okay.
Oh, Sea of Stars. That's just givens.
I was gonna say those are the givens, right?
Yeah.
Aside from those, gosh, there was let me re-look through some of those. Akatori looked really good, really good. I liked the look of the combat there, but what was the
KAMiBAKO.
Break Arts 3, was that the one?
The racing one.
Yeah, the race battle of mecha game. Yeah. Yeah, I
I
think
want to
that's
see you play that.
I think
wanna
that
see you
looks
play that.
crazy.
Yeah.
What was the one that looked kind of PSP-ish? That was Metal Bringer.
Metal Bringer, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one where you can customize like little robots and
Okay,
little
but 34
androids to fight
Everlast
for you.
from Kanata Lab, 34 Everlast. Okay, that one's got my interest definitely peaked though, with like the 10-minute like loops.
10-minute game loops, yeah.
Yeah, that seems. It's hard. It's hard to
Interesting
pick between
idea.
those. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
I'm
all
surprised
a
you
little
didn't
bit
say
different.
KAMiBAKO.
KAMiBAKO.
'Cause
Which one was that
The
again?
crafting one, the restore one.
Oh God.
Fragmentator. Fragmentator.
I'll have to see more of that game in action before I can get suitably hyped, I think. It has some really cool ideas though.
There's a longer trailer that I can send to you. I picked a shorter trailer.
That's probably a smart idea.
There's actually a longer trailer. It's like a 5-minute trailer. That I can probably find. Oh, 4-minute trailer. Whatever. Yeah, I'll find it for you later.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm basically no, just all the games that we covered. Like there are no bad games. Nothing that I'm excited about. Fight Crap, of course, because it's just a lot of fun. But like Metal Bringer, super excited for. And what is it? Akatori. But I'm also interested in seeing how the Tokyo Psychodemic works out, because apparently they're really trying to create like a new kind of like a detective game that has not been done before. So I don't know if that's just like a sales pitch, or like do they really think they can pull this off? So we'll see.
Man.
Okay, now that we've gone through all the games, here's some industry news, starting with Project Q. Do you guys remember Project Q? Because I certainly have not forgotten about Project Q. And I am even more puzzled now that Sony has brought us more news. First of all, they've announced that the device is now called the PlayStation Portal. So no longer is it called Project Q. And now that I really think about it, where's even a letter Q in all this? There's no. Anyways.
Well, maybe it's.
Well.
Gosh, I don't know. The thing is weird. Like, okay, so they call it the PS Portal, which is it's a fine name, you know, because it's pretty descriptive of what it is, I guess. I hate that it's probably going to start being called the PSP by people who actually use it.
Oh no.
I know.
But, well, they're calling this their first dedicated remote device. So yeah, so aside from all the things that we've heard before, here's some new information. The only good news in all this, I think, is that it will cost $200, which is less than a lot of us had predicted. We were thinking maybe $250, $300, but it's $200. Okay, yeah, it's fine. But here's where the basically good news ends. Let's start from maybe the least devastating news. It is a 8 by 10 inch 1080p display that basically attaches to what looks like a bisected regular controller. Also got the haptic feedback and whatever triggers, that's all good. But the battery life is basically the same, which as anyone who's ever used a PS5 controller will tell you that the battery drains surprisingly quickly. So now attach a 1080p display to it too, with more or less the same battery life, and you get yourself a PS Portal. So questionable battery life at best. No Bluetooth. Okay. Now, of course, there is a headphone jack, but if you want to use like your wireless headphones and earbuds, I'm sorry to say that does not work with this device. You have to buy the proprietary, the Sony branded earphones and headphones and earbuds, which features what they call the PlayStation Link low latency like technology, basically a proprietary wireless technology. So Bluetooth does not work, which is kind of a shame. There's no local play, and you cannot do cloud streaming. In other words, like PS5, you have the game streaming. Well, you can't play those games off of the PS5, which is extremely bizarre. It's like, what are you even doing with this? Like, what is this device even for? Like, what? I'm even more perplexed now, right? We kind of knew that this device wouldn't be like a Switch competitor because you can't bring this outside the home. Well, you can, but it's so clunky with the controller. It's not like a flat shape that you can like, slip in the bag and go with you. It like the controller sticks out and like it's just a clunky shape, period. So it's not something that we would expect people to bring outside to play, like a Steam Deck, for example, right? So okay, but maybe you can like, do some cloud streaming. Well, you can't do that. I think that was like the biggest thing that I thought this thing would be able to do is like stream through your PS Plus catalog. I can see some appeal to that, right? If you want to just stream games off here, but no, it has to go through whatever you play has to go through a PS5. It cannot be a standalone device, period. It will not function without a PS5. Okay.
Part of me thinks that a lot of this has to be anti-hacking measures. Like I feel like that's the only thing that would make this seem like an appropriate way to do things. So first thought, headphones. I mean, that doesn't bug me too much because I have headphones. I even have some right here on my desk. That's So what you do is you take your headphones, you unplug it from your Walkman, and then you have a pair of headphones. You can just plug that. So that's the Bluetooth problem solved. So you can just so just do that. Just go and plug them from your Walkman, and you're good. But the other thing that does enable is the addition. I mean, it's stupid that you would have to do this, but do you remember that for a very small microcosm in time, there was an accessory that people would buy for their Nintendo Switch to use wireless headphones that would literally just have a little battery pack that would plug into the headphone jack on your Nintendo Switch, and then you would pair your headphones to that. Well, I guess those things are going to be back in style here pretty soon for
I don't know about that.
For the people who really need wireless headphones. If you do.
No, I think the technology works. That's not the reason why I don't think it's going to come back. I don't think it's going to come back.
I don't
'cause
think
no
it's going to
one's
be that
Not
popular.
enough people will buy enough of these for it. to demand to
I
come
do
back.
agree with that. I think
Yeah.
though that it does have a spot, and I don't think that's my. I don't think, like, personally, I don't think it has a spot for me. But I was actually talking to a friend of mine who's like actually interested in getting one of these because he has
Really? Okay.
because he's got a PlayStation 5, which first one down. He has a partner who also likes to play like games on Nintendo Switch, and they have one main TV in the house. And he was talking about how it'd be really awesome to be able to, rock out some levels or grind out some levels in a game while his partner plays, like Tears of the Kingdom on Switch or something on that TV. Which like they could then take turns, like who's got the TV, right? Or they also have a kid, and that kid also likes to play games. So there is a use case where this could make sense.
Okay. No, that's pretty convincing.
The
Although, well, I'll let you finish.
I was gonna say the battery life thing, like sure that kind of sucks, but it's not leaving your house anyway.
Yeah. So
I
you
mean,
can just plug it to the wall.
Like,
So-
exactly. How far are you ever going to be in your own home? How far are you going to be from an outlet? I mean, it's inconvenient, sure, but is it like a deal breaker? Probably not for the kind of people who would be interested in it anyway. Like, I don't think that battery life will be a real deal killer. Now, I think though that the cloud streaming, gosh, that does seem like they missed a trick, and I wonder how long that's actually going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, if PlayStation wants to seriously compete with Xbox on this whole cloud gaming thing, and they're releasing this whole device, but that device cannot do cloud streaming, not even through the PS5, by the way. I don't mean it as just like, oh, not through this device only. No, I mean, not even through the PS5 can you do the cloud gaming stuff.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah,
personally.
like what?
Because you would have all of the latency of the internet on top of the latency to your PS5. You'd just be adding another, node of latency essentially, by streaming it from.
Yes.
But I wonder if being able to stream directly from the cloud at some point would be like a firmware update that they would push.
That's the thing. Like that's what I assumed they would allow you to do, but that's not the case
Not
least
yet.
for now.
Not yet. But
Just
that does
extremely bizarre.
That does strike me as something that they would eventually want to do. Like, because right now what they have is something that they're putting forth something that they can market as, hey, you can use this to play your PlayStation 5 however you like to play games. If they think that they're competing with Switch, they've probably done some market research that says most people who play Nintendo Switch probably just doing so around the house, or a good amount of the time is just lounging around the house, playing portably or whatever, and they just like the form factor and being able to lay on the couch and do that, right? And so if that's the market that they're going for, that's like this is the feature that they're trying to sell it as, because that's also going to give them the best experience. Because honestly, if you sell a device for $200 that lets you play cloud-based games, people are going to really expect that to work really well. But if you sell them something that works really well to play from their PlayStation 5, and then down the road, you unlock the ability to play their remote games, and maybe it's not as good, but your expectations have already been kind of lowered somewhat by playing local, so you're not getting like the whole 4K, experience, right? You're already, kind of conditioned somewhat to expect and anticipate a slightly less quality experience than playing directly on your TV. So then once you're already conditioned there, then they enable it, then they can start selling you the idea of playing cloud games directly from it.
That is so cynical.
I am
I
I am very cynical.
And I like it.
but I can totally see how this is part of their master plan, but it all hinges on the fact that this work. And I don't know if it's gonna. I still think that there's a very good possibility that a lot of these, if they do sell, it's gonna be sold by or to people with the intention of opening them up for hacking.
So here's the counterpoint to
Okay.
all that. Okay, so the thing of that is that I think that this machine is not exactly like a Steam Deck or anything even remotely close to it, right? So it doesn't have that kind of processing power, right? So I don't think this is a thing where people would really try to hack it just because it doesn't have that kind of, like processing power.
I mean,
and
I've spent more than 200. I mean, I know people who've spent more than $200 on PlayStation 1 emulators or Super Nintendo emulation. Like,
true, yeah.
My original PSP was a really good Super Nintendo emulator, and I paid a good penny for that back in the day.
And I mean, does it even have like onboard like memory of any sort to store anything?
That's the big question. I mean,
right?
it's gotta have something for firmware updates, I think.
True.
But is it
that's
gonna have
probably about it?
But is it gonna have storage? I don't
Yeah.
know. It depends on how electrically connected the USB-C port is. Because it would
Now-
be really a very simple thing to do to connect a external hard drive via cable with like a little piece of tape or whatever to hold it on. Like, it's not ideal, but that's
Right.
not what Sony's aiming for. But if it's only a power connector and not like a data connector, which is entirely possible, then
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it would be able to be unhacked. What's the word I'm looking for? The phrase. Maybe it would make it a fruitless endeavor to hack it. But
So the thing about this is, okay, go back to the whole like no Bluetooth thing, right? Yeah, you could just put in a headphone jack. You could just plug in, a wall charger. But half the point of these devices is that there's no wire. Like, so you got another wire here to the wall. You got another wire to yourself. Like all of a sudden, it's just clunky as heck, right? So it's not a deal breaker, but hear me out, right?
Yeah.
You're paying $200 for this.
oh yeah,
You could
I mean, not me.
just get a controller and use your phone with remote play today.
Yeah, you could.
Okay, you have an iPad laying around. Good, you could just do remote play
That's
right
gonna
now.
be clunky too, though.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay an extra $200, right? You just need a controller. And if you have like any of the derivatives of Steam Deck, like the Asus, like Asus made one. There's so many different companies that made similar devices,
Oh yeah.
and you can all just play.
Oh, yeah.
With,
If you
know,
have one of those, the value proposition is gone.
right. So in the real world, then you're right. You've got that friend who has that need, but this device is $200 already. Now the alternative is to pay maybe an extra $150 and get like a full-on device that can just play games on its own. And all of a sudden, now you compare it, like, does it make sense? So there's the use case, but then now you compare it to alternatives. And I don't know if $200 makes sense for a device that will do nothing other than connect to your PS5 to do those things. Right. So I guess that's the whole thing is
It's
if you
tough.
want,
It's
you have to
very
buy into the
very
ecosystem.
targeted. And I think if we're not part of that, and I know that we're not part of the subset. I know I'm not part of that market, but it's hard to say that there's nobody who wants it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And
I
it's
just don't know how many people there realistically are.
Yeah. I mean, because
know?
that's the other thing is like the people that you're actually going to be targeting this to
Mhm.
are the people who already have a PlayStation 5,
Mhm.
the people who have the need that you're addressing,
Mhm.
and the people who know about it. Because they also have to be pretty well connected to the pulse, I think, at this point to know that it's a thing. Like,
Mhm.
I think there's a ton of people who still don't even know that the PlayStation TV was a thing back in the day for PS Vita.
should watch HitPoint. We tell them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
But
tell your friends.
but yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is that there's a very strong possibility that a lot of these are going to be ended up, sold at a I think they're already going to be sold at a loss, but I think that they'll also be heavily steeply discounted if it doesn't become a success, at which point they definitely will become friends of hackers who just emulate Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and maybe as high as PlayStation. But I mean, that's the other thing. Like, would they purposefully hamstring this device to the point that it cannot be used for that kind of purpose? Like, they in order to hit to thread the needle here, they would have to kneecap it enough that it cannot play games via emulator, but it would also have to be powerful enough to decode real-time streams directly from the PlayStation 5, while also being cost-effective enough to, like, they would have to be able to custom manufacture the hardware to run this thing. Like, it seems like it would be so much cheaper and easier to buy off the shelf, like, tablet hardware for
way easier.
From
all the hacks are already out there.
Yeah,
probably.
for an Android device, like, know it's gonna have like 512 megs of storage or something like built into the oh god, what's the form of flash storage that's built onto it? It's gonna be it's gonna be like the Amazon Fire tablet. It's gonna be one of those things basically,
right?
And,
or like a used
with a
Steam Deck.
controller built on.
They already exist in a while.
Used Steam Decks.
Yeah, there are people just like don't want to keep one anymore, and they just sell it at a loss. And
I can't find them, but I mean,
Really?
I'll keep an eye. I've been keeping an eye out because I'm stingy, and I would like to be able to like play PC games on a Steam Deck for the purpose of like being able to say, I played this on a Steam Deck and here's how it ran. In a review, and like tell people if a game plays well on a Steam Deck. So I don't want to necessarily pay full price for a Steam Deck though, because I'm chintzy
for you.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, one of my friends sold his because he bought it. It was cool, and then he just realized that he doesn't have a whole lot of use for it, so he sold it while it was still a pretty hot commodity. Like he tried it, and it just wasn't for him, so he sold it. But yeah, I'll keep an eye out. Yeah, but I would just imagine that like over time, like for example, like Valve said that they will make a new Steam Deck. Like this is such a commercial success, they will make a new version. And there are Steam Deck competitors, like the one that Asus made. And
the
some other companies.
Neo, the ROG Ally.
Yeah, they're all these. So it's not as if there aren't competition. So for like maybe an extra $200, you can get a full-on device that just works and can Steam games and works with your Bluetooth. It's just and that's my problem with this whole device is
it already obsolete? Yeah.
It's obsolete before it even comes out. It seems to me.
Is there a needle to even be thread with that like price point? Like, what do you have to deliver at that price point that could make sense? And it's so hard. I don't think you could at this point.
Yeah.
Except for a very small niche of people. And I guess that's one of the cool things about the PlayStation 5 though, is that it hypothetically could work with the PlayStation 6 and beyond. Like this thing, like this thing won't go obsolete because the PlayStation 5 is going to be sticking around for a while, right? Like
maybe.
I mean, yeah, that seems to be the case anyway at this point. It doesn't look like the PlayStation 5. I mean, the PlayStation 5 is not even hit market saturation yet, right?
That's fair, yeah.
So, I mean, it's entirely possible that they'll be milking this thing for a while. So I guess that's the counter argument. I guess that I could finally, I found a thing to say about it that might actually make sense. Your $400 or $500 investment in an Steam Deck today could be obsolete in 2 years, but the PlayStation 5, I mean, the PlayStation consoles have been chugging along for like sometimes upwards of 10 years of support. How long was the PlayStation 3 and 4?
No, but you can still do remote play on those devices.
Yeah. I wonder if this would be backwards compatible with remote play on PS3 and 4. That would be interesting. I doubt it.
That would be interesting. I doubt it.
That could sweeten the deal a little.
Yeah. like it works with 4 and 5 right now. Even the Steam Deck works with 4 and 5 right now. Like
Yeah.
I played my PS5 off a laptop when I'm upstairs doing work, and then I just want to take a break, maybe play a little Persona, get through a day or two. I can do that on my laptop today, right? So, I mean, or conversely, I could spend $200 and get this device and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Which I get it. Yes, there is a use case, because I have that use case where I can't walk all the way downstairs to play my PS5, but I want to play just a little bit between breaks. So okay, I get that. But they're just alternatives. So I guess that's where I'm still at. Is like they're just alternatives that I could be doing this and better.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
I'll be very curious to see how it goes. But I think a lot of it's going to come down to just how Sony markets this thing.
Yeah, I
And
wish they would just
if
do like an
Sony
honest
markets
effort.
this thing.
Yeah, well, they're trying. They're trying. I wish instead of they just actually do a like honest to God like good handheld, but I
Yeah.
don't think that's ever gonna happen again.
I mean,
unfortunately.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Nintendo's kind of got locked down on that at this point. Like they have,
Yeah.
it's I don't know how saturated the market was with Game Boy, but I feel like
Mhm.
Switch is kind of approaching that.
Mm.
It's
I think for the
wild.
first time the Switch sale has like gone down. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's no
year
one
to
left to
year.
sell to.
Yeah, but they basically they basically hit saturation. So
Yeah.
they're like, okay, now it's time to push out that Switch Pro or Switch 2. So there's all these news
The
buzzing now.
Super Nintendo Switch.
The Super
That's what
the
I'm
Super Switch.
That's what I'm aiming for. No, Super Nintendo Switch.
Super Nintendo Switch.
That's
Okay.
I think that they should totally lean into that.
I would buy it.
All right. Well, moving along from Sony and their streaming device.
Speaking of Nintendo.
And speaking of Nintendo,
Yeah.
the Pokemon Company International have announced on August 13th, 2023, that it would be making an immediate donation of $200,000 to GlobalGiving's Hawaii Wildfire Relief Fund,
Yeah.
which is
Super cool.
pretty
of them.
dang awesome. I mean, the Pokemon Company, like they've got some money, and like 200,000, that's not an insubstantial amount.
Mhm.
You know, I think that it kind of makes sense. I feel like when they did like the God, what was the Sun and Moon? Those were kind of
Yeah.
based on the Hawaiian Islands. and
Hawaii. Yeah.
They probably spent a significant time doing, research and like getting to know the islands really well.
Mhm.
So it makes sense that a lot of the developers at the Pokemon Company would have a special spot in their heart for Hawaii, and it's really awesome to see them reaching out to extend relief at a time when Hawaii needs it a lot right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And Baku is also going to be participating in a charity stream in order to benefit Hawaii's wildfire relief as well, starting on the 16th of September
Yes.
as part of a 40-hour raid train that will direct relief to Maui. Do you want to
Yes.
talk any more about that, Baku?
Yeah, sure. So someone just reached out one day and they're like, "Hey, do you want to be part of Raid Train?" And I was like, "Cool. What are we doing a Raid Train for?" And they told me about like the direct relief fund that would basically goes towards like food and shelter, like immediate needs, right? So
Mhm.
there are different kinds of things that really the island needs. Okay, of course there's like reconstruction and all that, and that's definitely a lot further down. But
Yeah.
what they need now are like just a lot of necessities that you may not be thinking about.
Things to get them
Spe-
to tomorrow.
Correct.
essentially.
And remember that this is off to an island, like the big islands, right? Like they're not like in the main, like, continental US where it's like easy to just like truck things in,
Yeah.
right? You got to ship it over. It's just a little more difficult relief effort wise than if it was continental US, right? So there's a lot of people. I think it's like the death toll is like up to 1,000, if not over that by now. But people were just like, gone missing and etc. So it's insane over there right now. So we're doing what we can. So I'll only be streaming for like maybe like 4 hours out of the 40. It's the raid train that goes on for 2 days. And like all the money will be donated towards the direct relief fund.
Do you want to describe a little bit about what that raid train means for anybody who's maybe not familiar with Twitch and some of its things that they do?
Sure thing. So basically what a raid train is let's say that we start at somebody's stream early in the day on 9/16, which is a Saturday. Let's say 8 a.m. And the person streams until noon. Well, they pass that raid, they pass all their viewers onto the next planned streamer in a certain time slot. Then then that person passes to the next streamer and the next streamer. So it's a raid train in the sense that like, everyone is there for a certain event, and that viewership just keep being passed down for 40 hours straight.
Kind of like passing a torch a little bit, or passing a baton.
Yeah, passing a baton, definitely. I definitely think of it as passing the baton. So I'll be on day one. I don't know who I'm passing off the viewers to. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I have a little bit of time to think about that. But for 4 hours, I'll be raising money for Maui. We've done something similar before, actually. We did like a 2 weeks raid train. That was insane.
Wow.
Just for 2 weeks straight. People are in like one streamer or another, just nonstop 24 hours for 14 days, just getting passed along to the next streamer. That was really wild. But yeah, this is just 40 hours. So
yeah, that's pretty intense.
2 weeks of raiding. Yeah, no, that totally happened, Gato. It was like sometime last year, earlier this year. Yeah, that was crazy. So thank you so much for giving me time to talk a little bit about this. But we're definitely hoping to make some difference out there.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to remind you again before it happens. So, just keep it tucked away in the back of your mind, though. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's
talk about it.
That about does it for the industry news and the relief that the Pokemon Company is also providing to Maui. Now it's time to kind of move along to some of the merch that's going on. And we've all kind of got one real main thing here.
Yes. Because there are so many Trails fans here, and I know you guys all love the figures. We finally...
figures.
So we talked about this before. We talked about Emma, and we talked about the new figure that's coming out, right? Well, last time we looked at it, it wasn't painted, and I told y'all that was the prototype. They might change it up and whatnot. Well, I didn't expect them to get it colored so quickly, but here it is. You can check it out on my screen right now. I've got it pulled up. The full figure in its glory, colored, and that's what it looks like.
Could you zoom in a bit?
Yes. So... Or not.
Oh, it won't let you. Oh no.
Yeah, it will not let me, but you can see the text larger, I guess.
Okay.
But whatever. The link will be down in the description below when you guys want to see it yourself. But basically,
that looks so good.
Kotobukiya is a large company, and part of them makes figures, and they're basically on contract to make most of these Trails characters, right? So Crow, Reen, Altina, was that her name?
Altina, yeah.
Altina, yeah. They have what's her name?
Fee?
The one that I bought and I cannot remember.
Oh, Ren?
No, although Ren one actually just got released. You can actually buy that now. Like buy, not pre-order.
Risha?
Risha, yes.
There you go.
So that one is out. So now Emma's coming. It's just all kinds of characters. So if you're a figure collector, or maybe you're not like a figure collector, but you just really like a certain character from Trails, keep an eye out, man. Like Kotobukiya is going to be making more and more Trails characters, especially as the game progresses. So this is definitely not going to be like the last thing they do.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for the merch updates. So now it's time to, oh my God, what Floppy Dogs, what have you done? Okay.
What?
Well,
It's
it's
got
time
like
time for us to
50
respond to a few of these super chats. Holy cow. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right. So Fluffy Dog says, I never thought thought I've never thought in Final Fantasy 6 or 7 that I wish this was more difficult. Sometimes simple and well-made games are just good without sliders.
Sliders.
You know, like difficulty sliders.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Especially older games, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
But I feel like they have different ways of adjusting difficulty.
yeah, it felt
even
like a lot of
without the
times
slider.
difficulty sliders a lot of times just like affect how much damage you receive and how many hit points the enemy has, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
So-
true. Yeah.
So it's, I mean, there's definitely good and bad ways to adjust difficulty via a slider, but yeah, I don't know. I think that a well balanced game, gosh, really shouldn't rely on its difficulty. I don't know. I'm still formulating opinions on my statement here, I guess. Still a lot going on with that whole discussion about difficulty and easy mode and hard mode.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's hard. It's hard to predict character like player behavior, right?
I mean, does a oh gosh, does a game in order to be good, does it actually have to be challenging or difficult?
It just has to be fun. But
Yeah.
there lies the problem. Like, what does fun mean?
Yeah, at what
right?
point?
So
I think that's
yeah.
also, I think that kind of strikes to the core of it, is like it's different for different people. Like what is fun for some people is just not fun for others.
yeah, which is why we want to give these options out so that effectively it's self-selection instead of you selecting things for people. You allow them to self-select, which typically gives you the best outcome when it comes to like incentive-based decisions. You just let people make their own decision because people know what they want at the moment better than you, like basically central planning out things, right? I guess think of it this way, right? Think of it this way, and this is gonna come into economics, but I'll make it really digestible. There's like central planning, right? Like Russia, for example, back then, where all the government will select prices for goods, right, and services. But they select a single price and they apply it through the entire country, right? But everybody has their own mind of like what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, right? So they can't account for all these different individuals, right? So if you think of it that way, it's basically central planning for me to set one way to play, and then you just have to live with it, whether or not you adjust or not, right? Or I can give you options so you can self-select, right? And then you can adjust it however you want to fit your own personal style. That seems to be more consumer friendly, right?
Yeah.
In many sense.
It's kind of funny though.
That's the analogy.
I was going to say, it's like, we're talking about video games and you're like, well, here's how it relates to economic policy.
I'm sorry. I was an econ undergrad. I think a lot of things in like incentive-based things in that sort of lens.
No. It's hilarious, but I love it. It's great. Flippy Dogs also went on to mention a video game confession of theirs. They said they've actually never played Chrono Trigger. I know.
What?
And they said, "Can we still be friends?" And I don't know.
Banned.
What do you think? What do you think, Baku?
Banned. Don't
right.
want to see you. Just kidding.
All right, they're gone. Just kidding.
Be gone. I'm kidding. As long as you're willing to make an honest effort to try the game at some point, you're forgiven.
I mean, legitimately, there's a lot of great games that I've never played. In fact,
Yeah, that's
probably
true.
I've probably never played most of the great games out there.
You haven't played most of Tell's games, so that's already a sin.
I mean,
right?
there's
But-
that. I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the kickback that I got when I mentioned that I hadn't played Lufia 2 yet, a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
Oh, there was some real shock and awe
It's
going
real
on.
anger happening.
There was some anger. I mean, it's kind of funny in a way, but
I will admit to you all, I've said this before, but I've not played Grandia. I've not played what is that one game called? What is
Lunar?
that pirate game?
Oh,
Pirate.
Skies of Arcadia.
I've not played Skies of Arcadia. Like there are just a lot of. I've not played Cold Steel. I mean that you guys love that series. Yeah,
Whoa,
there's
whoa,
a
whoa!
whole bunch of
Let's
games
slow
that
it
I've
down.
not
You're
played.
gonna make everybody hate you, Baku.
I am just now playing Persona 5, right? Like, take me back like 5 months ago. I'd be like, I have not played Persona 5. So no, there's too many games out there. It's fine. Just get to it when you get to it.
They also mentioned also Breath of Fire 1 through 4 HD remasters when? And then followed that up with another, wait a sec, am I an IRL NPC with the Breath of Fire questions?
Probably.
They does repeat a bit.
Yeah, I've wondered about that, and I am glad you are basically confirming my beliefs.
Yeah, they also ask, with the latest news on the RetroTINK 4K, do you think it's worth the price tag? Would you recommend it to a friend interested, but it's not cheap?
How much is it even?
I don't know, but it's not cheap because even the RetroTINK, like the 5X, is
Yikes.
like a couple. It's like 300. So I think the 4K. So here's the thing: the 4K is kind of neat from the perspective of, um, from the perspective that it can upscale HDMI inputs up to 4K. So it could take a 720p image and multiply it 3 times to get to 4K. Is that 3 times or no. It's you can multiply it several times and it'll scale to 4K at like an integer scale. And you can also do that with 1080p. You can scale it 4 times to get to 4K.
Okay.
So it's like it's nice from a perspective of upscaling Switch games if you really want to, or upscaling PS3 games and getting like sharp pixels on that. But I mean the use case for that is really limited, I think, because you would only want to do that with games that are already pretty well pixelated, I think. Like you wouldn't want to, do pixel perfect upscaling on like sharp edges, nearest neighbor scaling on a game like God of War on PlayStation 3 that's been upresed for remastered from PlayStation 2. You wouldn't want to see the sharp, jaggy edges. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think most people wouldn't want to see that. They would rather have something that does some smoothing for that. But if you were doing something retro, like playing NES Remix on your Wii U and you just wanted those razor sharp pixels, I guess you could do that. The other thing that it would do is it would decrease the latency, the display latency of upscaling games built into your TV. I mean, if your TV's native resolution is 4K, upscaling that from 720p to 4K on your TV's built-in scaler, aside from probably not doing the best job, I mean, probably not the worst, but probably not the best, it would also add a bit of extra latency to do that. So if you're playing games that really do the real-time stuff that like you just cannot have lag, this would be a way to mitigate that. And if that's worth the money to you, then cool. But it ain't to me, and I'm not going to be upgrading to it from my RetroTINK 5X. It's really, and I think a lot of people already kind of know that and have said it. Like this is like, I think Bob from what was it? RGB Retro RGB. I can't remember the name of his channel at the moment, but he even said in his video going over all the specs is like, it's kind of like buying a first class ticket to a destination. Like you could just as easy buy a coach and you'll still get to the same destination overall, but sometimes a first class ticket is nicer, right?
True. Yeah.
So it's complicated, but personally I would never probably recommend it to anybody unless they had some really specific niche use case, and I think that person already probably knows that they would need it. For turn-based RPGs, that ain't it.
Some people take it very seriously, so I guess, yeah.
I mean, if your PlayStation 3, if you're playing PS3 on a 4K TV and you think it looks terrible compared to playing it on a native 720p screen, then yeah, I think you might want to try it out, but only you can really make the value proposition of like if that's actually worth it or not, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Well, I'm glad you broke it down because I don't know anything about
know.
these retro device. So
Oh
yeah.
man, dude, I've spent the last like couple weeks working on a GBSC in order to, which is a different scaler altogether that takes I've been doing this like weird Rube Goldberg machine of taking a HDMI input, putting it into a adapter to component video output that I can plug into the GBSC interface that then spits that image out in 240p over RGB SCART that I could plug into my CRT television Sony PVM. It is,
And it works?
it works.
What?
It looks really good.
Huh.
It looks really good. But
just
the
jank.
process of getting there is so complicated. I would make a video about it if I didn't feel like it would tank. I feel like nobody. I mean, there's probably some people here who watch everything I do, and I appreciate you, and you'll watch it. But I know that there's a lot of people who would not.
No mass appeal. Is that it?
That's kind of sorry,
Yeah.
but
It's like that.
but it is fun to experiment. And last night I was actually streaming this 8-hour block of Cartoon Network to my PVM of Speed Racer was actually playing on that PVM.
What? Speed Racer.
My gosh, dude. Let me tell you, in the early days of Cartoon Network, their anime game was a little bit weak.
Well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, moving on. They're asking also about GranBlue Fantasy, or saying that GranBlue Fantasy Relink Collector's Edition is currently still available on Amazon for pre-order if you're interested.
Huh. That's weird. I did not see that.
Yeah, well,
Like
that's what they
at
said.
all.
Yeah, might be worth checking it out. Oh wait, they retracted that after it's no longer available. They said.
Yeah. No, I meant like I just straight up did not see.
Oh no, but they did retract it afterwards. they said never mind.
Okay. So maybe it was a fluke because it's not supposed to be available yet. Like as in it's not
Oh.
supposed to open yet.
Oh, okay. It's not supposed to be
Yeah.
available yet. Okay,
So it's not that they
it's-
ran out. Because
Okay.
if they ran out, you'd see the listing, but then it would just be like sold out. Like the listing is just straight up not there.
Oh, that's probably for the better.
Yeah. Also, just for people who are curious, they right now if you go to and I've been keeping my eye on this because I really want to go get it. If you want to get GranBlue Fantasy Relink, you click on like buy like physical. They're gonna send you to the Exceed store basically. Now, in the
Oh,
future, I think they will open additional retailers, but at least for now,
Going
they'll
through
send you to
Exceed
Exceed
first.
store. And
Okay.
guess what's not at the Exceed store? The listings for these games. So they send you to the store, but then there will be nothing there for you
Okay.
to select.
Well,
So
bookmark
yeah,
it.
frustration. Yeah.
Let's see. They also said, "What is Taters Precious?" and then "Love you both." Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. They said, to be fair, they did. Sony did say they believe in generations. They did. Wait. Hang on. Let me reread this.
Sure.
To be fair, Sony did they believe in generations. We, the consumers, just didn't realize they meant technology from past generations. I'm not sure I understand that one. They did say that they believe in generations. We, the consumer, just didn't realize they meant technology from past generations. Okay, I'm not really following. Sorry. Hard to pick that one up because that was probably in context of something we were talking about.
Yeah, that's probably the case. Sorry, we came to this a little late.
Yeah, and then finally they say, fans say, "Give us PlayStation Vita 2, Sony. How about something that, that is nothing like that at all and appeals to less than 5% of our player base?"
Man, yeah, no, I definitely get it.
All right. Well, yep, that's. I think, yeah, it's super niche, but I think I've said my piece on the PlayStation Portal.
Mm-hmm.
Man, now the sucky thing is, like, if I ever like start talking about the PlayStation Portable, or if I'm talking about the PlayStation Portal, people are gonna be like, "I'm sorry, did you mean the portable or the portal? The port?" You gotta make sure you don't mumble when you say the last word, because it's just one syllable different.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? People being people on YouTube will nitpick the living heck out of your pronunciation.
Yeah.
I have witnessed that personally. I released all 3 videos on my YouTube. I have basically no videos and already got, like, crapped on for, like, mispronouncing a thing. It was just all the comments like, "Did you mean this?" Like, God.
I mean, I
Okay,
think
I
a
get
lot of
it.
people would be really surprised to hear that English is not your first language, and
Surprisingly.
like it's. I think a lot of people would be really surprised to find that out. So
I'm not mad at it, but
know.
YouTube is YouTube. So yeah,
true.
I just concur with whatever. Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, I hope you all had a fun time tonight. I certainly did. It was a nice show. A lot of really fun news to look forward to.
Oh my God.
A lot of
There's
games
so
are
many-
on the horizon.
So many good looking games. Sea of Stars, just hands down. Oh my God. Just let me order the physical game already.
I cannot
please.
wait.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Well, anyways, we will see you guys next Sunday, I think. Unless something, goes wrong, but we'll
Nope.
play it by ear.
No excuse. It will be Sunday. Just no excuse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no excuses.
No excuses.
All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good rest of your night, and we'll see
Take
you
care.
in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.